Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go Devils!
Let's go Devils! Hi guys.
Hi. Hey everybody.
It's all of us today. Tim, Tone, Bob. Oh my God! Did you see it? I got my sexy voice. That was my pillow voice.
Bobby, it's good to see you, man. I feel like I never talked to you anymore, dude. It's good to see you.
It is good to be seen. Thank you, Tony. I feel like we get on like once a week or so. It's just hard for us to match up the schedules. We could take a minute.
Bounce out.
Tony and I go way back.
Just bounce out really fast.
Chris, you want to put me in timeout really quickly?
Can we just black out the screen real quick so Tony and I can have a chat?
Slongs R Us commercial background.
Tim, you got any extra jargon?
So I didn't talk to you guys about this, but I attributed a point system to our picks, our first round picks, and we'll do it going forward. So how I did it was 1 point for if you pick the winner of the series, 2 points if you get it in the right amount of games. Okay. So I guess before we jump into anything, let's do a quick accountability of round one, and then anything that you guys want to, add about round one. All right. So Bobby is kicking our asses. Bob's got 9 points. Okay. Wow. So the Kings lost to the Oilers in 6. Bobby, Tony, you're the only one that got a point off that. You took Edmonton in 7. Timmy and Bob took LA in 7. I took LA in 6. Dallas, Colorado went 7. Tony and I both got that. Dallas for 7. Bobby, you took Colorado in 7. Tim, you took Colorado in 5. Mm-hmm. Then we have Jets St. Louis. That went 7. We all took, you guys took the Jets. I took St. Louis in 6. So Bobby and Tim, Tim, you took the Jets in 7. Bobby took them in 5. Tony took them in 6. Vegas, Minnesota. Minnesota lost in 6. We all took Vegas. Tim and Bob got it right. 6 points. 6 games, rather. Me and Tony, 5 games. Toronto beat Ottawa in 6. Tim had Toronto in 7. Bob had Toronto in 6. Tony had Ottawa in 7. I had Toronto in 7. Caps and Habs, that went 5. Caps 1. Bobby, Caps in 5. Tim and Tony, Caps in 6. I took them in 7. Florida, Tampa Bay. I think we should just skip this one because we all took the Lightning and we all lost. Wow, yeah. And then also there was some other series that I don't really know how it went. But anyway, Bobby has 9 points. Tim has 6 points. And Tony has 6 points. And I have 5 points. So
can you imagine how many points we would have had if we didn't just pick the Devils because we're fans? We all would have had like 2 more points.
We would all be much, yeah.
I'm glad we all did that, though.
Yeah. Well, sure. You are?
Yeah, because we all,
None of us can go against the Devils on a playoff pick because then we are going to jinx the team, man. You got to go down with the ship. You know what I'm saying? It's like
look, if we were an NHL podcast where we were talking about other teams and stuff, then maybe I would have been a little bit more thoughtful as far as that series goes. But like you said, it's a Devil podcast. Like this is our favorite team. This is what we do. So yeah,
people aren't tuning in to hear us say they didn't got a chance in hell.
I mean, essentially, I think we did say that, especially the podcast before that we did on a Sunday. It was just Tim, Tony, and me. I think Tony and I were very critical of we're not taking New Jersey on this. Like, there's just no way. So,
and I think I've been even more critical, right, Chris? Like off the show, even about it, because like I said, I'm a Devils homer. But man, it's if I was Carolina,
anybody who listens to us knows that if we do a true analysis, it eventually comes out at some point how we really feel from a hockey standpoint. But then when push came to shove and it was time to pick, we picked with our hearts, and that's fine. I'll do that every time.
Yeah, every time. Yeah, I think I really, really estimated that Colorado Dallas series. Yikes. Yeah. I didn't think Dallas, I know, but like Dallas didn't have Heiskanen, they didn't have Robertson. Their whole right side of their D is fucking awful, but apparently they weren't.
I took the Lightning in 5 over the Champs.
Yeah.
I mean, that
did I have bad. 7 for that, Chris?
You had Tampa Bay in 7. All you guys had Tampa Bay in 7. I took them in 5.
Yeah, and we underestimated the Champs there.
I should get a point.
How about that fucking Winnipeg game last night?
Dude, I was awesome. I was just like, I had like the longest freaking week. I mean, I was seriously running on fumes. I still am. Like everything hurts. Every fucking muscle in my body hurts. I just want to lay down. And that game wouldn't end. And I'm like half asleep. And I'm like, I can't go to bed now. I mean, they pulled it out this far. And then even though I had St. Louis, I don't like St. Louis. I was really hoping that Winnipeg pulled it off. Like you don't drag your team into double overtime just to blow it like that, you know?
How big is that for Hellebuyck? He must have been, I mean,
and I think he'll be all right moving forward. I think that was like, do you guys feel that way? Like this was that hurdle, right? He had to get over Tomas Hurdle, which I guess they will next time.
1.7 seconds makes the difference, though. You know what I'm saying? 1.7 seconds makes the difference on how his imagine if they wouldn't have scored, it would have been a hell of an offseason for him. The shit he would have heard. I mean, there's already memes out. I was already seeing these memes about Hellebuyck all over the place, you know.
But St. Louis blew it.
Yeah.
All they had to do was tie the puck up in the corner. That's all they had to do. Just don't play the goddamn puck. You take a page out of the Florida Panthers book. How many games last year in the playoffs did they just run off 30 seconds by
just
eating it?
St. Louis is thinking the same thing in their cars right now, heading out of like the fan. Man,
I mean, a guy that we should look at in free agency is Nick Ehlers. Like that play he made at the blue line on the tying goal was insane. Like the balls he had to throw that cross to Connor.
I was yelling at the TV. I'm like, what are you fucking doing?
Shit,
shoot it.
Man. Yeah. And Connor got a decent amount on that from the angle that he was at and the stance he was in. Like I couldn't believe.
And then to recover from when he lost the puck out of the zone before that too. Yeah. You know, he recovered really nice.
He went from like fumble fucking the puck, like and Andy whiffed on his first original shot. Like that was a hell of a play by Lowry to get the puck back to him at the point. I couldn't believe that happened. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a lot of fun. So I'm now officially on I want Winnipeg to win the Stanley Cup. That's my train right now. I want Winnipeg, Florida, and I want Paul Maurice to like constantly give his ex-girlfriend the eye with the new girlfriend, like constantly like, you know, I still kind of like you, but you know, that kind of thing. That's what I want. Florida, Winnipeg.
I didn't even.
Did you guys see the crowd outside the arena? I mean, the crowd, it was insane. I mean,
do we get that?
It was like the whole city. Like
but the Devil, like they always show it, but I've never seen it with us. Like, do they show? Like, is there a contingent of Devil fans that hang out outside the Rock to watch these games? I don't know.
I think there are a lot of people at like American Whiskey. There's like they have a third.
Yeah, they do Reds and American Whiskey and such, and you know the road will be full. But
they show them.
Like that.
Do they show them?
I don't think there are a lot. I mean, I think that's a lot of pre-gaming. I don't know if a lot of people actually.
I think Chris is right. I know I see Reds outside of Reds before the games, but the last time I think I saw a Devils crowd was like when Hughes got drafted.
There's no broadcast feed in a place like that. You know, like there's a square in Toronto where they do it. Winnipeg, all 500 people that live there like gather in that little.
Why do you got to go and take a drive-by on Winnipeg?
Because it sucks.
I guarantee if
it looks like a movie set, it's like a tiny little street. Like, what the fuck is that place?
If we did a long run and we're going deep in the playoff,
I'm kidding.
I guarantee people were up there in Newark watching them from the bars too, and they can't afford tickets. Like if we're in the Stanley Cup Finals, I guarantee Edison Avenue would be completely full, and so would the building during the finals.
If I had to,
I would go up there just to drink there and hang out with everybody, dude. If I couldn't afford a ticket, we all know I probably couldn't afford that ticket.
You'd go to Newark, New Jersey.
Well, yeah. That's where my team plays, dude.
You know, and I think back from if you go back to like 94, 95, like the Devils do have such a larger fan base now. Like it just seems like it's grown. So I mean, there was a lot of Devils fans back then, but now it just seems like it's big. So I do think people will still come out. There's still people paying for tickets at the end of think about it. What do you pay for Bobby in Jersey? What are you paying for the average ticket now? I know when I was in Tampa, it was me, my 2 kids, and my wife, and we paid like $400 for it.
Well, they have the tiered pricing depending on the event, the team. Like opening day is always higher priced because it's opening day. So I mean, even the nosebleeds were up over $100.
So I mean,
but you average around $60 to $70.
I would imagine.
For a ticket.
Yeah,
that's about average,
man. Well, Tampa's
pricey. Yeah, I mean, I like the old arena better just for the tailgating aspect. Well, we've talked about that a million times, but what the hell? I had a point and I don't remember it.
But like to Tim's point, when he cracked at me for going up there, like seriously, if the Devils win a Game 7 Stanley Cup final right now, they got 50-50 chance of taking that cup home, and you can't get tickets. You wouldn't entertain maybe going up there and just hanging out with the
Oh,
crowd?
I would.
I would
totally.
definitely do that.
Of course,
I
would.
remember-
I'm just kidding. I'm
Me
being
and
I
Chris sat
remember
outside for Billy Joel
Give me a
tickets on
drink.
the line. Of course, I would go
I've
to
sat
that.
outside for a lot of tickets. In
Yeah.
2001, Bob and I were after Game 6. We're on the computer looking at tickets for Game 7 in Colorado to head out there to go watch that, and
Oh,
it
it's a
was out of our
heartbreaker.
price range, but we were looking.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have made that trip. Well, in retrospect, no, I wouldn't have.
Yeah,
But
good thing.
it
Good to
would
save
have
the
been
money.
fun.
Yeah.
It would have been fun. So we have round 2 coming up. We also have Tim. Do you want to go over a little bit of the kind of grading thing that we did, and have these guys
Sure.
kind of hop in?
So I figured a useful exercise would be to, now that we've kind of taken a step back and are a little less kind of emotional about it, was to go through and kind of give everybody a letter grade, how they did, management, down to everybody on the team. One quick thing: the Ravens just released Justin Tucker, by the way.
Oh,
How
good.
about that? How about having a moral compass on a football team? Didn't see that coming.
Hope
He's
the
a piece
Raiders
of
play
shit.
them this year. It's the only team we could beat.
We drafted a kicker in like the 6th round or something like that.
Gosh.
That is like his percentage was like 50% or something ridiculous.
I'm so curious about. I mean, not to like get off on a football tangent, but I'm so curious. Baltimore is one of those teams, the Ravens, that do interest me a lot this year. I'm just, if they can keep it together, where if Derrick Henry doesn't kind of have a slide backwards, because I mean, we all need to keep in mind that the guy's old. I mean,
Yeah.
and he's a running back. And,
Well, for a running back, he's old.
well, when running backs fall
Yes.
off a cliff, it seems to just happen like overnight.
Yes.
So I'm real curious about that. I love what they did on the defensive side. I love this kid Starks, and I think Starks and Hamilton are going to be amazing together. You still have Lamar, but I would say Lamar Jackson probably has the most pressure on him out of any quarterback in the league this year, going into this
could be.
year. Him and
They've,
Josh Allen.
They need to get over that hump, man. Like, it's just, they get to that same, first, second round of the
But they're
playoffs,
always good,
run
Tim.
into the Bills, run into the Chiefs, and they shoot themselves in the foot. It's been year after year. They something that they've done that to themselves.
But you know
whether
what, Tim? They always compete. I will say that, but I
Yeah.
can't stand the Ravens. But man, they're always like up there. They're never
They're always
like
good.
with 5 weeks left. They're never not going to make the playoffs. It feels like no matter who's at quarterback.
They're well-run organization. They have
Yeah.
good scouting. They have very stable, good management. I think they have a good organizational philosophy. Maybe you shouldn't hire so many murderers and kind of bad guys, but it's
Shannon
football.
Sharp, too.
It's football. You're
Choking
kind of
people.
your standard for that is a little bit lower, I would say.
And that
But,
Shannon Sharp thing is crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, I really hope that it's not true. I like
I'm
Shannon
sure-
Sharp.
What is,
But
Sure it is.
some woman came out and accused him of rape.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
I thought the
I
choking.
didn't. I
thing
told that
there.
was not even on my radar.
Yeah, it was like I think rape and other physical abuse and shit.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I mean, yeah, it's a really bad look. I mean, this dude has never been in any trouble. Like Shannon Sharp
No.
to me always just seemed like a stand-up dude. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if
Look
it's
at
true,
Naked Gun. Then look at
Hmm?
OJ. Watch Naked Gun. Then you go look at OJ. It's like,
dude, they remade Naked Gun. Have you guys seen this trailer yet?
Yeah,
No.
with Liam Neeson.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't. I mean,
I don't either.
yeah,
I thought the trailer looks promising. It's Seth MacFarlane, who I'm a fan of.
right.
and
Yeah, I think you and I talked about this,
Yeah.
Tim. And
It looks like I will give it some rope. Like, I'm not going to be an immediate curmudgeon and be like, why are you remaking that? Because it could be fucking hysterical. But
Yeah.
it could also be just absolute bag of trash. I'm going to try to approach it with an open mind.
I am too, because I like MacFarlane. I like a lot of the people in the movie, but at the same time, like, and I think I even said this when I saw the trailer to you, Tim. Like, I have such a special place in my heart for the Naked Guns, the Airplanes, the Top Secret, all the Zucker Brothers
Yeah.
films. You know,
Yeah.
they're brilliant. Bobby, you feel the exact same way.
Absolutely. All of it,
So,
yeah.
like, to remake it, are you going to be able to, first of all, keep it as funny as the original without repeating the same jokes? Because even by Naked Gun 33 and a third, like, they're repeating jokes. Like, it got to a point where there just wasn't enough funny shit that you can keep doing, you know?
The frequency and the rapid fire ability of them to just pop in a joke every 30 fucking seconds is
And
unmatched.
even at 49 years old, I sit down, like, I'll watch Airplane, I'll watch whatever
Hell
it's
yeah.
on, Naked Guns, and I crack up. My wife looks at me like I'm fucking insane. She's like,
I
how
love
many
it.
times have you seen this movie? And Airplane probably got to be in the hundreds by now, and you still laugh because it's still freaking fun. And you know every line, but yet you can't stop fucking laughing. It's they're the greatest movies.
I won't go see the
I have
remake
an
though
idea.
because
Sorry.
I won't even like. Chris brought up something about a year ago, and I was thinking about this because I was talking about this movie with my wife the other day. Like, I won't see the remake. I don't like remakes. And then we're talking about Clerks 3 one time, Chris, and I won't watch it, man. Won't watch it because
Clerks 3
I
was
love
really
the first
good.
two. I just think that's not what you do with that movie, man. I've heard how it ends. I'm like, dude, you just can't do that. Like, that's
No,
not
you got to
what
watch it.
wanted to.
It's I get what you're saying about it, but the movie itself, like Kevin Smith did a great job. Like he
I'm
did
sure
such
it
a good
was,
job
but
with finishing that story. You know, he finished it and it was great. Bobby, what were you going to say?
Well, just on Clerks real quick, Derek had sent me like the trailer for it or something. We were out running about, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, that's who I started announcing like they were gonna make a Clerks 3. I didn't even fucking know they did it, dude. So I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch this. So yeah, I gotta find that one.
You gotta catch up, huh?
Yeah. No, what I was gonna say about the Naked Gun movies, I told this story before on here probably a couple years ago, though. It's just they were so funny. I'm guessing it was the second one. It was me, Chris, and his dad. We went to the movie to see it. It might have been the first one. And you know the opening scene where the police cars just driving through, the sirens on, and it's like hitting everything. Like
Police
it's
Files.
funny, but it wasn't like crazy funny. But Chris's dad couldn't stop like laughing, like the most big grunty laugh ever.
I don't remember that.
It's funny,
You don't
dude.
remember? He was laughing. It was funny, but he was
It's funny.
it was so funny to him. Now you're laughing, and it just started from that moment. Like the entire thing was just laughter.
The
There's
fire
not many-
hydrants and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes to the women's locker room.
Dog. She pulls the dog off the curb.
I gotta rewatch that.
I gotta go watch it now, guys. I'm out of here.
So now, okay, so this is giving me my idea now that I just thought of for our snake draft. Think about it, and we'll do for next time. But best 80s comedy movies.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. All right. So but to get back to the ranking.
Yeah,
thing
so
that
this
we were
is
talking
the
about,
reason
try and
people
stay on
generally listen to us
subject.
and fucking talk about stupid shit.
So this list, before you go into it, is quite long and extensive, and I can see how each one's going to be a conversation. We might want to segment this, like
think that's a good
coaching and
idea.
forwards, and then defense or something like that, because
yeah.
this is well over an hour right here.
We can.
You wrote the Bible, didn't you, Tim, over there?
I like it to talk. You know, I talk.
No,
in the
he
good,
did good,
and,
but each of us to grade them, we're going to
did
probably
well.
explain why, and I could just see it going for a while.
Do you have mine on there, Tim, or do I have to pull those up?
I don't. Well, I don't get the Pucker email.
Oh, you don't get the email?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just a lowly employee here.
All right. So go ahead.
Tim, get that. I don't know why
You
Tony
start,
doesn't get it.
Timmy, and
All
I'll
right,
just
so-
write. I'll just
yeah.
write what I wrote.
Yeah. So overall, team grade, I gave him a B-. Started out great. You know, first 3 months, and the analogy I use is like a college freshman who discovered weed and booze mid-year. You know, they got an A on their first test, a D on the midterm, and a C+ on the final. They barely just kind of squeaked through. They kind of figured out how to just get to the end of it. But overall, it was somewhat disappointing, but kind of understandable.
All right. So I wrote. It's hard to quantify an accurate team rating when we rarely saw the team as it was intended. I will give 2 grades when healthy, a B+, post injuries and into the playoffs, C-. That's where I am on team. So what about you guys?
Well, I think now that it's come to light a little bit more of the injury situation, I'm going to be a little more lenient than I was probably originally going for. I love Tim's analogy on that too, with the someone discovering booze in college. It totally makes sense. You know, they were hurt, they were banged up at the same time. Like half of that team was just ass. So I think I'm going to stick exactly with the B- that Tim gave.
Tone.
I'm gonna go C, I think,
Okay.
because it was a disappointing season. It started out good, but fell apart. Injuries. That's why I think if you don't have the injuries, you have to give it like a even less maybe, because it was kind of a bummer of a year, man. Going up from management to me to what happened on the ice, you know, the whole experience was kind of it wasn't a fun season, which is weird because at first it started out like they were gangbusters, you know. You're like, holy shit, man, this is gonna be, and then it just, I don't know. It's a lot of disappointments, a lot of a lot of bad losses too this year against teams that you weren't supposed to lose against. So
They need to
love
get
to see
over
them
that.
as
That's
well.
happened 2 years in a row where they've
No.
walked into some teams where they just should have kicked the shit out of them and just inexplicably lost.
Plus underachievers,
Absolutely.
right? If you take that
Yeah.
and put it into the number, I think it turns to a C because you have so many guys on that team this year that just now you're left scratching your head like, well, is this guy done now? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot of question marks after this year.
A
So
lot of question marks.
yeah. So I say C.
All right,
Yeah.
next, we've talked enough about Fitz. We don't need to give him the grade, but I have it in here. Coaching. I gave Keefe a B plus. I think with the tools and toys that he was given, I think he did about as well as he could have. A couple in the injuries. I don't necessarily like a lot of his systems, and I do think for a coach, a second year is probably the most important year. We kind of talked about that a little bit. And with Colleton, I gave him an A. Special teams carried this team all year long. The power play was top 5 almost the entire year. Tape to tape, and the penalty kill was really good. It was probably more of the other guys, but
So what do you give him?
I gave Fitz a B plus, or sorry, Keefe a B plus. Fitz, I did not give a B plus to.
All right.
Keefe, I
so,
gave a B plus. Colleton an A.
So I have for Keefe, I wrote one thing Fitz did nail was the hiring of Sheldon Keefe. Coming into a team with a solid core and a lot of new faces and expectations can be difficult. Keefe got a pulse of the team early and rarely failed when adjusting different line combos. The emergence of Jack Hughes as a legitimate two-way player and his defensive style hit a lot of warts that the Devils had, especially in the bottom 6. I give Sheldon Keefe an A-.
Okay. I think I'm just going to level off at a straight B for Keefe. I mean, I know that he did a lot of great things, and most of the buttons he pushed were great or did work. And I think that if we even had it at the least like a healthy Jack throughout the year, I'm probably definitely bringing that up because of what you just mentioned, Chris, about the type of game he was able to get out of a guy like Jack Hughes. But I just felt somewhere towards the end there wasn't enough change to realize we're not winning this way. The whole end of the season and then even the playoffs. I know it's tough to do. And I don't think a B is any indictment that he sucked. I think it's still a really good grade for a first-year coach on the team. So I think that's fair for me, just a straight B.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a B too because I did, a lot of injuries, so I'm going to give him that credit. I do like him, but nothing's proven really because it wasn't a great year. But like I said, injuries. I think a B because I think he is a good coach and I think he's good for the Devils. And I think it's a good change from last year. So,
Okay, what do we got next?
Next, we just do the whole forward group. We are going to go through and give everybody an individual grade, but I think that it's kind of a tale of two halves, basically. The top end of the forward group, I think was really good, probably B plus level. B, injuries obviously affected that, but the progress Jack made defensively was pretty incredible. Nico took another step. Brad took another step. Definitely want more from Timo in the regular season next year. I would love to see him be steady and be on pace. I think hopefully they realize they need Timo on power play 1. I don't care if you have to put Brad on power play 2. But then the rest of them, fucking dog shit. The bottom 6 is just trash all fucking year. And that was our downfall. That's what sunk us. And then when injuries happened, those guys got elevated roles and they did even worse. Like our scoring depth and our offensive depth was just absolutely awful. And those guys could barely even hold their own ice defensively.
Yeah, I pretty much had the same things. I wrote that I believe most of the pieces are in place. I like the blend of speed, skill, and size. The top guys did a good job of covering up the holes in the bottom of the lineup, but more is required. I give it a B-.
Oh, I gave it a C plus, by the way. That was my grade.
Straight C for me. That's the easiest math. It was 2 completely different sets of goods. Forward group good, upper group good, lower group bad. I don't know where else to put it there. We can get into specifics, like you said, like guys like Timo and stuff. And it's also like this weird blend when I think back of the year, because in the beginning of the year when there was a lot of success, you did have a guy like Nason who was stationary on the third line. So in my memory, that was a powerful thing to have him doing that. But then if I really look back, I'm sure that majority of his points came on the power play. So it didn't really have anything to do with that lineup. So just very dismal bottom 6. So the best I could do is give a C.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go as probably a C plus. I think.
Okay.
We have. I think I would. Chris, you might have mentioned this last show too. Bobby made a great point and early this year that the Devils are going to need to make a big move, like some trade. There's going to have to be some kind of transaction this offseason. Trading away some guys to get something else. I think to really improve this team. So,
Tone, I want to actually let's just hold up on the rest of the grades real quick. So I just want to run something by you because there's all this talk now about Quinn, and I don't know how real this steam is going to get over the summer. I would assume it's probably going to get real, especially if Quinn Hughes does say he wants to come, or Jack comes up and calls Fitz and says, "How can we get my brother here?" So let's say that this is real, and Bobby, you've been talking about it for years. A big hockey move. In my opinion, there are only 3 guys on this team that when you're talking about acquiring a player of Quinn Hughes' stature, there are only 3 players on this team, in my opinion, that are safe. And I'm not talking Markstrom. I'm not talking the goaltending. I'm talking 3 players, and it's Luke, it's Jack, and it's Nico when it comes to Quinn. Am I wrong about that?
No,
Or is anybody else
correct.
100% safe? Everyone else is fair game, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I think Brad's fair game. I would kind of see him leaning more towards the 4 guys that won't leave, only because of the contract and stuff. But he could go. Yeah, I mean,
You're saying Brat would be the 4th guy?
I think if there was a 4th guy that wouldn't get moved, it would be Brat maybe. But the problem is as we
Brat's going to
you
be
got
the
to
guy
give
they
to
want.
get. You got to give to get. So you're going to have to give up. Big draft picks probably. You're going to have to give up a Mercer. I mean, you're going to have to give up some stuff because nothing is free, especially. But man, imagine. First of all, like we said, imagine having those 3 on the same team, and for everybody, for the organization, it's huge. Some marketing thing they could do with him. I mean, I don't know. I think
and
that
he's one of the best players in the world, which is,
Tim, you thought he was the best, right? No, not the best in the world, but the best in his position.
I think he's the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah,
I think he will be for a couple
of
years.
Bob didn't. Yeah, we talked about this on Sunday.
Yeah, I listened to the show, and I thought it was a really great conversation. I remember, I think was it Chris or one of you brought up the point. Is the team going to become too Hughes centric? Is that going to be kind of a problem? And I honestly don't think so for several reasons. I think number one, because those 3 guys, they just, they're on a good level. You know what I mean? They're not about that. But more than anything, you're talking about a Norris Trophy winning defenseman. I don't care what his last name is. You plug him in, you've just gotten that much better. Your number 1 defenseman has just been slotted down, which is incredible. I would definitely entertain it without worrying that it's going to be Hughes centric. It's not going to bruise Nico Heischer's ego. That guy's a warrior now. He is the team. Luke's going to become what he's going to become. I've said it before, and it wasn't my quote. It was Scout's quotes that he may, at the end of the day, wind up being the best of the 3 of them. Remains to be seen. It's a large shoe to fill, right? But it's possible, which means if you have that kind of talent between the 3 of them, it would be amazing.
And if you think about it, so Quinn probably he's playing about 25 minutes a night, and Luke would probably be about 20 minutes a night. That's 45 of 60 minutes. Basically one of those guys is on the ice every single time, and then Jack is basically on the ice the entire time with either one of them. And so that's going to be hard to stop. Quinn really functions really well with the high end forward. It's kind of like McCarr and McKinnon. They try to match up their ice time. So I was thinking about it a little bit. The only issue is stepping on toes on the power play, and who gives a fuck about that? Well, I give a shit about it, but I don't think Luke should really care that Quinn's going to take over power play 1.
And I would not have thought before this conversation became, what it is. I would not have thought of a defenseman would even be in the market. You know what I mean? Like I would say, okay, we're going to need the help up front, but I cannot just stop salivating over the idea of.
I've always
Quinn
thought
Hughes
it was
being
going
on
to
this team.
happen
Exactly,
at some
bro.
point.
Exactly.
But I figured it's Quinn who he moved up the timeline. I don't know
What do you
what's
mean
going on
about
over here. Quinn's the one who moved up the timeline because otherwise he'll be a free agent in a couple of years. That would have been an easy get for New Jersey.
Right.
Now, if these and whether or not I don't know how deep you got to read into these conversations. It's out there and it's already known. So like the wheels can be in motion. So he pushed it up. Do I think that we can realistically pull off what we have to give to get him? Yes. Are they going to want to? I don't know. But even if nothing else happens, I think he signs here in 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. Quinn doesn't have any trade protection. He doesn't have like a no move clause or a no trade clause. So we kind of because they could really fuck him over if like they want to. I don't think they would do that to him.
Yeah.
So they could theoretically trade him to like, San Jose and just be like, fuck you, pal.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would do that. It also depends on what Vancouver wants. Like I'd give up every draft pick in the next 2 drafts for Quinn. Like tomorrow.
I think it's going to happen this summer. I really do. I
mean,
think it's going to happen.
I kind of feel with you there, Chris, too. But and Tim, to that point, like what you would give up in the draft picks, like think about this for a second. If we legitimately got him, I don't see a hole in our defense for like the next 6 years. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right.
It is what it is. It's solid. And now you tinker with the rest of the lineup. And that defense, Jesus, with the kids coming up too. I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah. Quinn, Luke Salayev, left side.
Yeah.
Well, Siegs is still there, and Salayev kind of eventually takes over for Siegs. I imagine then you can move Dougie out for peanuts, and
still got Pesci,
still got Kovacevic and Nemec. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it would be.
And so anyway, go ahead.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that you have to, and I think Jim Rutherford only brought this thing up, I think, to kind of prepare the Vancouver fan base that this guy's not going to be here long. Like we've already lost. Besser's already out the door. We know he's signing probably with either the Rangers or Minnesota. Miller's already gone. They don't know what's going on with Demko. And then now Quinn, you're going to lose him in 2 years. So it like you said, Bob, there's no doubt. If Luke is locked up in Jersey and Jack's locked up in Jersey, Quinn's coming to Jersey in 2 years. Now, if you're Vancouver, the guy's a perennial Norris Trophy candidate. His trade value is never going to be higher. You got to move him now. In my opinion, if you're Vancouver and you're saying, okay, we're going to make that decision, we have to rebuild. Tockett's gone. I mentioned all the other guys that are gone. You're going to build around Pedersen, maybe Pedersen and Bratt. Maybe that works. Maybe you can do something with that. But you have to get legitimate players right now on this team. And what better way to do it?
But they maybe want to tear it all down and rebuild. And that's why I brought up all the draft picks, because it's like,
which
give up the next, 3, 26, 27, 28 first rounders. Good. I don't care.
Yeah.
Out the window.
It shouldn't be that high anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We're in a win now window. Like right now, like we need to maximize every single year under this window that we have. If we do send out Bratt, we need to bring in a corresponding player or players that kind of sit pretty well with him, like a Nick Ehlers, or even give Mitch Marner a sniff, even though I don't know if that would necessarily work with the amount of money that he would command. But you bring in like a Nick Ehlers and a McCann, like that would be perfect.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, that brings us to the decor. So I gave them a B+.
Oh, we're not going to go through the players.
Oh, you want to do each individual?
I was just
player?
wondering, like, are we going to do that, or do you just want to skip the players?
We if people want to read it, they can.
Okay, let's do that.
I mean, we can pick like the best and the worst if we want.
Okay. I mean, if you want to do that,
the individuals on another show, we could do whatever. It's going quicker than I thought, personally. So.
Okay, all right. Then then we could go through the forwards quickly and individually. Nico, right. Nico gave an A+, heart and soul of this team, leader, PK1, power play 1. Hardest matchups, most defensive zone start times in the league, most faceoffs in the league. The guy's a fucking warrior, and he's gotten bigger. This national narrative that he's somehow a small player is bullshit.
I wrote, "Oh, captain, my captain. If Jack Hughes is the heart of the Devils, then Nico Hischier is the soul. He is one of the best faceoff and two-way forwards in the game. He's grown into the leader we all hoped he would become. He's a solid A. Nothing else I could say about Nico. I fucking love him.
Yeah, can't change anything you guys said there. Don't even have to think. It's just instinctually an A.
Same.
Brett, I gave an A, took another step. Regular season, set a new career high, single season record for assists. That's huge. Would have loved to seen a little bit more production from him during the playoffs, but I think he actually played pretty well. I know that's kind of, a hollow statement, but I think he actually, was effective, except for the power play. And I think that's what affected his production. The power play going cold, he was partially responsible for that, but I gave him an A.
Jelly to Jack's peanut butter. Brad has shown his willingness to do all that is required to become a better player each and every year. He was top in the NHL in assists this year and is always one of the best pure skaters on the ice. The sky's the limit for Jesper Bratt. He's a B.
So here's the problem with me and Jesper Bratt. I'm sitting here trying to find justification to lower the grade, and I'm not really finding it other than slowing down a little bit at the end of the year in the playoffs. But we know that when I look at the whole body of work, I can't just focus in on a few weeks because what he's done it's worthy of an A. That's where he is now. I think Jesper Bratt has a work ethic. He gets better every year. I want to nitpick him A- because of this and that, but I just can't do it. So I'm giving him an A.
Yeah, I'm gonna say A also. It's sometimes like I said, sometimes you forget what he's even doing out there to see the stats the next day.
Yeah, he's quiet.
He's yeah. I see no reason not to give him an A, to be honest.
Okay.
All right. Jack, I gave an incomplete to. Got hurt. Need this kid to be healthy. Timo, I gave a C+ to. The joke about setting his calendar to March. He made back up some of that. Originally, I was going to give him like a D. But he needs to be on that first power play to really kind of pump in the goals. He was a menace during the playoffs. I think he was our best player during the playoffs. So C+ though. Again, like Bobby said, looking at the whole body of work, she's tape to tape.
I wrote, I'm so torn on Meyer. I like his game once winter ends, but he's yet to show the playoff fire. That playoff fire during the regular season. I love playoff Timo for the contract. He needs to be that guy starting in November. I too gave him a C+.
I can't figure out him anymore. I'm still in love with the idea of the Timo Meyer I thought we were getting. And frankly, I mean, I'm disappointed. Not in the guy. He seems like a great guy, and he's got a great march. And yeah, he could be a playoff menace, but I don't think he's performing anywhere near expectations of his skill level or his contract. So I can't go any higher than a C. And he's lucky he got that.
Okay.
Yeah, take that, Timo.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it, millionaire?
You fucking nice turtleneck.
Wipe his ass with his $9 million a year.
Oh, is that 100?
I'm gonna say B. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say B+ because he was really nice to my kids this year. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. That's a
reason.
fucking great reason.
I like it.
Yeah.
Dawson, I gave him a C. I think he kind of flatlined a little bit year over year. I don't think we're ever going to see him get back to that high 20s goal production. That was a bit of a fluke, I think, in my mind. But there is something to be said for his versatility, his Iron Man streak, his power play, penalty kill. Could play up and down the lineup, multiple positions. That is a valuable thing to have in our toolbox. I've softened on my criticism of him a little bit. I think he had a pretty good playoff, but I gave him a flat C.
All right. I gave Mercer a C+, and what I said was I think it's safe to say that Mercer's career year 2 seasons ago was an outlier. He's a third-line guy that can kill penalties. He plays with heart and has no problem getting into the dirty areas to create offense. The problem is that when he gets there, he's usually bullied off of his spot. Mercer has the intangibles to be a Sergei Brylin type of player. Someone get this dude a membership to LA Fitness. C+. That's my Dawson Mercer write-up.
I think that I think he did overperform 2 years ago, so we can reset the bar as to what he is. And if he's playing in the right role, I think he's extremely valuable, especially for, contract ratio to what he brings to the team. And as just a hockey player, I'm teetering on the B- to C+, but you just sold me on C+ because the guy just gets pushed off. Everything's too much. So I'll go with C+ this year, but I think he's going to be a B player if we all stop thinking that Dawson Mercer is our second line right wing or something.
Right.
I'm going to give him a B. And the only reason that I'm not giving him a C+ is because the guy doesn't miss a game. And, this is what I think he is, though. I don't think this is who I think Mercer is I think he'll always be. This is the kind of player he is. I don't think he's not going to burst into being a superstar one day. I don't think that.
But you need players like him at his price point doing the role.
He never misses a game, man.
$4 million a year is not a lot for his level of production.
He's hockey smart. I mean,
if they could figure out a couple of guys in the top 6, like we talk about a winger for Jack and everything, and we can build that bottom 6 around Nason, Cotter, Mercer, and Glass. Depending, we're just saying they're all going to stick around. I think you have something there. If you can fix that top, get somebody to play with Jack, I think you can work around those guys. I think are good foundations for a bottom 6. The problem was, like you said before, Bob, Nason, Palat, all these guys playing the top lines, Mercer playing on every line. Like if we know and we have the guys slotted where they need to be, those guys can be valuable where they're at.
Yeah, I think we touched on this earlier this year. Is Mercer kind of felt a little bit role-less at 5-on-5, like what lines he playing on, what's his position,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of took it like a trooper, up and down, left and right. I still think he's just not going to be that guy, and it's unfortunate that we built him up in our minds to want to be that some guys, like Bob said. I think we just need to dispel that notion that he's just not going to be that guy. I'm going to lump 2 guys together just to kind of speed this up a little bit. Hala and Palat. I gave them both Ds. I think they were kind of the primary reasons why our offense was really dried up. I've said this before about the 3C. I think that is one of the most important positions on a hockey team. Should be taking a lot of pressure off of Nico, whether that's defensive zone draws, penalty killing, hard matchups against their best offensive lines. We could not rely on Hala to do that, so that's why I give him a D. Palat was a disaster all season. He showed up in the playoffs. That's great. That's the only reason he's above an F. But I think they are 2 of the veterans that we counted on that unfortunately were kind of part of the reason why our offense dried up.
1,000% right. And I gave both of those guys D pluses, and I'm going to lump another guy in too. So with Palat, I wrote a big contract for a guy whose best days are clearly behind him. I have 2 grades for Palat. Playoff Palat was a B plus, regular season D plus. Hala, I wrote, I hear he's good in the dressing room, D plus. And then I'll throw Tatar. Then I'll throw Tatar in, and I just wrote, I wish him well in his future endeavors, F. That's all I got for those guys.
For Tatar, I wrote D plus, and I said enjoy Europe.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to expand upon your additional person. I'm going to throw Lazar in my group too, because I'm just giving them all D's, as in these guys sucked, and I don't want to see them anymore.
Well,
the derivative of the D's nuts joke. I like
exactly.
With Lazar, I wrote, he has a nice smile and seems like a sweetheart, F.
Oh.
That is so mean. Tony, what do you get? What do you give our collection of veteran presents?
Lazar was nice to my cousin in France, so I'm going to give him an A.
He gave me a reach around once at a bar.
Then he would get an A.
They're harsh grades.
I'm going to say, how could you not say D, I guess? It's hard to even get up to a C on the whole situation this year, thinking about that group. So, Palat with the contract makes it worse. If he had a really low salary, you wouldn't care as much. But I don't know.
The thing is, that contract's getting smaller in retrospect to other contracts, and it still sucks.
Yeah,
like it just does. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, and those 3 guys, Tatar, Hala, Palat, that's $10 million that would be much better spent elsewhere.
Well, we might as well lump
for that
with a military parade.
We might as well do Bastion. We might as well do Bastion in this too. What do you got for Bastion?
This is my favorite. Favorite comment. All I wrote for Bastion was this fucking guy, D minus.
Okay, so what I wrote, Nate Bastion. He'll always be remembered by fans for. Wait, I got something here. I got nothing. F. That's my Nate Bastion write up.
I love it. Love it. I'm just gonna lump him in the D's group because they were all just interchangeable suck. So just be part of that group.
That's a good description. The interchangeable suck. It's actually a good band name.
Tony. There you go.
Good porn name.
Tony.
I think I've seen that movie on X.
I'm going to say D too. I mean, what I liked about Bastion back in the day was when he used to fight and he was a feistier player, and just now it's don't even notice him out there. Back in the day, you felt like he made a little bit of a difference.
Yeah. Before we go any further, we got to give a little shout out to our Hockey Podcast Network sponsors. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, visit dkng.co/audio. That's DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Who's next?
All right, next I got Paul Cotter.
That was so fuck you, and fuck you. Who next?
Love it.
Exactly.
Paul Cotter started off shot out of a cannon. Generally a pretty inconsistent offensive season, but he was a menace, man. Set a new team record for hits. I think he's a great fit for the bottom six. He's still very young, and his highlight reel, we've talked about this before, is just outrageous. Good bottom six guy, 15 to 20 goals, 250 plus hits. Take it any day. Wish he didn't have a fucking potato for hockey sense, but I gave him a B plus.
All right, I'm very similar to what I wrote. I said, freaking guy's a hitting machine, and is there a fourth liner in the league with better hands? I just want to see more consistency. Between him and Nason, the Devils have a solid bottom six foundation to add to. C.
I just still like the guy. I think it's going to take a while for me to ever come off like the B that I want to give him. I like what he brings in the right role for sure. And just kind of overall happy with him. Can't figure him out either. Don't know how you could be that extremely skilled in your hands and not score every day, but whatever. That's his problem. So still a fun hockey player on the fourth line. Give him B.
Okay.
That's his fucking problem.
That's his problem.
This fucking guy.
That was a problem this year for the whole team. Think about that. Meyer, Bratt, how many times did they shoot at that net and it just did not go in this year? I would give him a C too. I'm pretty much agree with what Bobby said.
I was a B though.
I've been asking.
Well, I totally disagree then.
I was a C.
I've been asking all the analytics guys if they have any sort of chart that maps out where the Devils are shooting to, not where they're shooting from, but where they're shooting to, where they're where they're missing the net, hitting the post, hitting the goalies. Because I swear to God, I think we have a collection of some of the worst fucking shooters on the planet. Just
Seems
accidentally wound up with a bunch of awful fucking shooters. Nason, did we do Nason?
No, not yet.
No, okay. He was our worst forward during the playoffs. Absolutely useless. Probably killed about half of our power play time, just wrapping the puck down below the net to nobody. But he was a great net front guy. Like, found himself on the power play, one of our 5 players that scored over 20 goals. Need him just slotted in that third, fourth line role and just to be a greasy net front guy in the power play, and I give him a B-.
Okay. I said with Nason, the prodigal son had returned and he started the season on fire. His production took a huge hit when Heischer went out with injury and he never seemed to regain his confidence and touch. I like his character and the edge he brings to the bottom six. C+.
Yeah. I think I got to go with a B- on him. He started off with such a career year. It was a pretty big fall, Nico situation excluded, of course, but just something really happened late in the season here where he just seemed like a totally different guy. He was the guy I went on to say earlier in the season where I said, this is one of the guys in the team that won't let us sink that fast in the playoffs. That's how much I thought of his game. And he didn't bring any of that.
Nope.
I wonder how much of it too, when it came to the playoff time, were these guys, with the way that the season ended, with the injuries, the way that these guys weren't slotted in any of the right spots. I wonder just how much of it was just plain old exhaustion. Like how much of it was just like, trying to do so much more than what you are tasked normally to do with. And these guys had a lot thrown on their plate, the entire decor, absolutely, but also guys like Nason. And so I think next year, again, another year slotted in the right spot with Sheldon Keefe's system, he'll be fine.
You go B+. I like him.
Huh?
Yeah, he think about it. He has career high in goals this year.
Yeah,
I
I
like.
got it
I
by
do like his
Christmas, and then he
grit. I
didn't
do
get
like his.
shit.
Yeah, but yeah, he just disappeared, but so did a lot of guys on that team. But I still
Sure.
think that he's got a lot of personality. He's got a lot of personality that the Devils do need because we've lacked it for the last bunch of the last like 8 years having that kind of personality. So I like having him on there. I say B plus.
Yeah. Okay.
I was bummed when he went to Carolina. He actually, I remember watching him with Carolina too, being like, "Damn, man, I wish we had him back." That's the problem with Tatar, right? We all kind of were excited about getting him back.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
I was
I
honestly,
was
what
because
the fuck are we
he was
doing
with
here?
that one time, that season before he was good for us. So I was like, okay, cool. Maybe he'll have a little bit of magic, but it was a total dud of a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We
yeah.
shared-
Just
we shared the
didn't
same-
replicate what we brought him in here to do.
Yeah, Tony, we shared the same, thought about Nason coming up here and playing that game, watching him play in Carolina. The shit of it was he plays that game in Carolina, then he comes up here for us and he can't play that game against Carolina to help us get past them.
Yeah,
Really weird situation.
Carolina. You think
Don't you
about
know
it,
something,
goes way
man?
back.
Don't you know how to play against these guys?
You should know.
I forgot to give my grade on Lazar F.
Okay.
He's another one of the veteran guys who are supposed to be the veteran presence, make us a little bit older, a little bit grittier. I realized it just came out that he had a knee injury, that he couldn't walk down the stairs. Sorry, buddy, that sucks. Seemed like a nice guy. We'll find someone else to bully Luke. Enjoy your rest of your career.
Tim's going to go to a meet and greet and get attacked. Son of a bitch. I heard about what you said on that show.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. If one of these guys listens to this, please don't.
They're gonna Nancy Kerrigan you and just be like,
What's
you
the
got a
chances?
fucking knee problem.
What's the chances that 1 of 3 people are going to try to jump Tim? I mean, come on.
Wouldn't be the first time. Speaking of which, I got a hockey game later.
Who else do we have?
Oh, I got McDermott. I mean, he didn't play the last quarter of the ice. I realize what he supposedly brings. I just, he's an awful hockey player. I gave him an F. Like, if Kovacevic and Dylan are gonna fight for us, like, there's no need for this guy to be taking up a roster spot. I get it. I get the intention of him. I just don't think it's necessary.
I wrote the poster boy for Fitz overcorrecting last summer. Maybe he should get into coaching. Incomplete, on my point.
I can't actually be as harsh with the dude. I'm just going to give him a C. It's his role. They paid him to come play that game. He's not doing anything wrong. He's just not good at hockey, but that's what they paid for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I gave him an incomplete.
He's gonna get a pass.
Incomplete may be a more fair grade.
Yeah, he didn't play enough, and again, he was brought in to do something, and then he overcorrected, realized we didn't need it, and now the guy sits in the press box.
That's exactly what I would say too. So,
all right.
We have Dowling. We didn't do Dowling.
Oh yeah, Dowling. Honestly, I'm kind of grading on a curve here because he was an admirable fill-in for what he was asked to do. Yeah. Took over Lazar's job as the 4C. Very unremarkable guy, but worked his bag off. Like, I was always impressed watching him. He tried real hard. So I gave him a B.
Dowling, I wrote the good little soldier. This dude did everything that was asked of him. He played his ass off for Keefe, and even when most nights he was out of his depth. A for effort, but a solid C+. That's what I give Dowling.
I'm going to give the kid a B. Like you said, it wasn't about the skill. He just shouldn't have been here. But when he was, he gave everything he had. So can't overgrade that. I think his effort was worth the B.
I'm going to give him a B because he did it, like Chris, you said, he did everything he was asked to do. That's all you can ask for someone at that level to come up and do. So I think he deserves a B, actually.
All right.
Cody, the last two forwards are Glass and Sprong. I didn't do any of the call-ups or anything. That's not necessary.
No, we
Glass,
can finish it with Glass and Sprong.
Yeah, I think Glass, he'll be a good 4C moving forward, I think. Showed some early offensive promise, seemed to integrate into the team and the systems really well. He did cool off, didn't really put up much in the way of points towards the end of the year or in the playoffs. He didn't really do anything. But I think he's a guy we should keep around and could probably be a pretty decent player for us. So I gave him a B-. And then Sprong, I just gave an incomplete, like confusing usage. Like he was in and out of the lineup. I don't know what they're going to do with him, if they're going to keep him or not. He said he loved Keefe, best coach he's ever had, but I'd say that too if I was dying for a new job.
Yeah, of course.
It's a very similar. I wrote with Glass. I said that I think the Devils should lock him up. He solves our 3 or 4C hole. Another year in the system, and I think we have a serviceable bottom 6 center to build around. I gave him a B. Sprong, I wrote, is he that big-headed bald guy we picked up at the deadline, right? D. That's all I got for him.
Glass.
I don't have.
I'm first.
You're actually third.
I'm over you.
You're actually over Tim.
It's true. Tony's not wrong.
Tony, would you like to go first?
I would be going fourth. No, go ahead.
So, yeah, I think that Glass is a fine hockey player. I think he's going to need a more established role. I'm kind of grading him on what I feel he will be. Put more in that position because this year was kind of wacky with him coming in, starting off hot. Everyone's like, oh my God, Glass, this guy can score. And well above his head there for a little bit, but I'll give him a B. I think he's a solid hockey player. And I agree. I really want to see him in a fourth line role with us. I think it'd be an asset.
He said that was
Asset.
Now it's your turn, Tony.
I'm going to say B.
All
What
that
about
dropping
Squall?
in on me just for, I'm going to say B.
I'm telling you, man. I always say, don't get stoned before the show, Tony.
I never listen.
As he
Doesn't
rips a
work
huge shit
sometimes.
right as Ken Danico's talking.
When I eat some gummies, like a little while before the show, and then quarter way through the show, it starts kicking. Like I wake up the next morning, I don't remember anything that we talked about. I have to go back, and I was like, did I say anything really fucking stupid? So I don't remember it.
Like talking about your gummy habits.
But
Yeah,
I'll never say what it was. But Bobby made said the best thing ever on the show. We got to take.
I did. We got rid of that though.
Only time that we ever had to go back and edit out something. Then you were 10 sheets to the fucking wind.
That was great. Dude.
I
I just watched his face too. I was like, no, he's not.
Yep. Good times.
All right, so I think we should leave it there.
We could save the defense group and goalies for another episode.
Exactly.
We never did do our round 2 predictions either.
Okay, so before we wrap up for tonight, all right, we got some.
That
I
would
guess
be
we
a
got
great
the round 2.
Chris, that would be a great condom reading if you had like what you just said. Let's wrap up for tonight. If you guys had
There
one of
you
those
go.
commercials, that would be excellent. There.
Look at you.
So let's start with Toronto, and they are playing the Panthers.
Yep.
Okay. Toronto's got home ice. We'll go Tim, Bob, Tony, and then me. Go ahead, Tim.
We got Toronto, Florida, right?
Toronto, Florida.
Oh, I'm not making this mistake again. I think Florida takes care of them in 7.
Cats in 7. Bob?
Literally the words coming out of my mouth were the same thing. I just can't bet against Florida after doing that in the first round. I also don't believe in the Leafs, so I'm also going to take Florida. I'll make it 6.
6?
Yeah.
Florida 7.
All right, I'll do it then. I'll take the Leafs, and I'll take them in 7. I know I'm wrong because I think Florida is just too damn good, but I'm going to take the Leafs. In Craig Berube, we trust. All right. Second round, second Eastern Conference Series, we have the Carolina Fuckacanes against the Capitals.
I got the. I'll do the Caps in 6. I was not impressed with Carolina at all. Like we had no business being in any one of those games. They should have fucking absolutely steamrolled us. The Caps have been a little up and down, but they just got Protas back, and I think they're ready to start rolling. So. I think they may give Carolina one in Carolina, 1 or 2, but I don't see it going longer than 6.
I hate this one because I really do believe, as we've discussed before, even a somewhat healthier team and 1 or 2 power play goals, I think that whole series is different. So I wasn't overly impressed with Carolina, but at the same time, they do play a style that can suffocate you a little bit. And I'm not a huge believer in Washington, so I'm really torn on where to go with this. I mean, but the bottom line is Carolina will continue to be marginal. They'll be a tough team in the regular season. They'll make it to the first round, and then they'll get bounced. So I will give it to Washington, but I'll call it a fight and give it in 7.
Okay.
Caps in 5.
I'm with you. I got Caps in 5. I wrote it down already.
Sound.
It reminds me of. I was going to say 4.
Reminds me of Pulp Fiction when they're doing the dance. He's like, Mr. Vince Vega.
Yeah, I'm going to go Caps in 5 too. I was going to say 4, but I think that Carolina, probably will steal one. But fuck the Canes. I'm going to Caps. I think either way, whoever comes out of the other series is going to the final.
Yeah, I think
So,
so too.
yeah.
I kind of
All
felt
right.
that with the Devils and Canes, Chris. What we did the last series we just played, obviously, like I kind of felt like it would go 5, and I kind of felt like we would win one game. That's kind of what I kind of thought in back of my brain. I was like, you got to at least win one, right? You can't
Right.
to just go out 4. The last team I remember really doing that would have been Tampa, right? They went out against the Jackets in 4. Then the next year they won the Stanley Cup. But
so you're saying there's a chance.
All right, let's hop out west. Vegas Golden Knights versus the Edmonton Oilers. This is going to be a really fun series. Timmy, what do you got?
I think Vegas is just too structured. I think they're going to steamroll Edmonton. I think it's going to go 5. Edmonton has too many questions in goal. They give up so many goddamn odd man rushes. McDavid's going to go nuclear in one game, but then the rest of the time. Oh, Vegas is also. I saw a chart the other day where Vegas has been the only team to kind of really be able to neutralize McDavid. So I think that happens for 4 games. One game he goes apeshit, but Vegas in 5.
This will be my reason number 567 why Bob doesn't know shit about hockey. I'm just going to go have fun with this one. I don't know what it is about Edmonton. I thought their demise was met in the last round, and they beat that team. I'm going to take them over Vegas, and I'm going to go stupid and say they do it in 5.
I like it, Bob.
Speaking of LA, did you see that Rob Blake stepped down? Their GM.
No, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go Edmonton in 7. I picked them in the last series, and I don't know. I don't think they're going to win the cup this year, but I think Vegas is tough. I think they can take them.
I think Edmonton is have proven that they are a playoff team. I mean, when the playoffs start, they're ready. I did not give them a chance against LA. I thought LA was going to roll them in 5, and they ended up coming out. But Vegas is really freaking good. They know how to win. I think it's going to be a fun series. I think it's going to go the distance. I'm taking the Golden Knights in 7. And that leads us to our Winnipeg Jets Dallas Stars series. Another one I'm looking forward to. Tim, who you got?
This is going to be a tough series, I think. I think you're right about Hellebuck kind of getting over that psychological hurdle, but I still think Dallas is too deep, man. Dallas is so good. I think Dallas takes them in 6. 7. I think it goes 7.
Stars in 7? Okay.
I got to pick one that goes 7.
I don't know where to go with this. I have lost all faith in Hellebuck. Now, plus with these brackets, I mean, my Stanley Cup winner at round 1 when we discussed was the Jets. So I'm torn if I should stick with that and go or rethink about that, considering I cannot stand what Hellebuck does in the playoffs. I don't get it. When I picked them the first time, I said because I don't think it's a fluke that they were President's Trophy winners, and I think that the playoffs were the fluke for Hellebuck last year, and he proved me like way wrong. If this is who he gets in the playoffs, I want to keep rooting for them, but I don't see them getting past Dallas with that kind of goaltending performance. I do believe this is going to help Hellebuck kind of be that switch to make him play better, but he needs to play like way better. And right now I'm not seeing it, so I'll go Dallas 6.
Seem confident.
Yeah, not
Tony
really.
Zambroni?
I really want to root for the Jets the whole way, but
I'm going to go Dallas in 7.
Wow, I'm the only one taking the Jets. I think that was a hurdle that Hellebuck needed to get over, and I think now he can. Okay, proved he can get out of a round. It took double overtime at Game 7 to do it, but he played great in those overtimes. Made some beautiful saves. I think the Jets are going to start rolling. I'm going to take them in 6. Jets in 6. So I got Jets Vegas in the Western Conference Final and Leafs Caps in the Western Conference Final. Timmy, Bobby, and Tony all have the Panthers and the Capitals in the Eastern Conference Final. Tim has the Knights and Stars in the West, and Bobby and Tony have the Oilers and Stars. Last year repeat out West. So looks good. Anything else that you guys want to add to before we wrap the show up?
No, we're good.
All right, this was fun. So we did our little gradings. Next time we come back, we're going to do a snake draft of the week. We're going to play Devil You Know. Whose turn is it for Devil You Know? Timmy, yours. Yeah, whenever. So we'll try and come back hopefully on Thursday and get those games in, talk a little bit about some of the games that already happened, and of course dive deeper into all the news, notes, and gossip that around our New Jersey Devils. So we are the Uncle Puckers. For Tony, Tim, and Bob, I'm Chris. We'll see you when we see you.
Peace.
Bye bye.
Suck it, Valley Cat.
Suck it, Valley Cat, you dirty motherfucking whore.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!